Welcome to Talking Pharmaceuticals, an interview series brought to you by Making Pharmaceuticals and Distributing Pharmaceuticals. I'm Victoria Emerton, Conference Director for the events, which will next be held in April 2025. And in the lead up to the events, I'll be joined by experts from UK Pharma to discuss the big issues and look ahead to their involvement in the events. Today, I'm delighted to be joined by Shilpa Mistry, Head of Pharma for UK and Ireland for HARKE Pharma. Shilpa, thank you so much for your time talking to me today. STEP Exhibitions and my colleagues and I really enjoy working with you and your team at Making and Distributing Pharmaceuticals. You've been involved in the events for many years in various guises, and we're delighted to have you back both speaking at the conference and exhibiting as well. So we're going to talk today a little bit about what you're going to cover at the conference, but it'd be nice to know a little bit about you as well. So how long have you worked in the pharma industry, and what are the major changes that you've seen over the years?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for inviting me. Always pleasure to work with you and your team. So I first started 25 years ago. I worked for Elan Pharmaceuticals for formulation scientist. I had a lot of hands-on experience during that time of developing solid dosage forms, right from coating, tableting, GMP manufacturing, raw material testing. And from there, I realized I actually don't particularly like working in the lab. So I then worked for a distributor and talking about formulations and helping people. And especially at that time, my relationship with Shinetsu started because they were the excipients that we were looking after. And then Shinetsu then opened up a place in Germany, and then therefore I moved, I didn't move to Germany, but I actually worked for Shinetsu directly for a number of years. And then I moved to HARKE Pharma nearly around about 6.5 years ago. And during that time, things have definitely changed in the developing way. So more on the developing side rather than manufacturing. We've lost a lot of manufacturing, unfortunately, in the UK. But in development wise, I used to go to a lot of like in-house trainings at GSK, AstraZeneca, all the big multinationals. And now what we started to see is that they are sort of having smaller R&D groups, and more CROs are popping up in the UK. And they're doing really an excellent job, to be honest with you. And we get so many challenging questions, so many different types of projects, and not only from the UK and Ireland, but for like everywhere. Like we have like customers for CROs, like they're working with all international companies. And it's great to work with all these challenges with them. But in the island, it's very, very different. I mean, I know I started my journey in Ireland, but over there, it's mainly it's more manufacturing of multinationals, API. And then any R&D that they do is very, very much biologics. So it's a complete different field compared to the one in the UK as well. So that's just how I see UK and Ireland market and how it's changed over the years.
Fantastic. That's a really interesting insight. And who knew you'd been around for such a long time? So over the past 60 years, small molecules have been the focus. Will the future be more biologics pharma, do you think?
So, I mean, I love a tablet. I'm going to be honest with you. I mean, it's my preferred route of method of taking medicines. And I don't think that's going to disappear. But I've seen overdevelopment through my customers and things like that. And I do start to see that there is a lot more discussions over, injectables and, biomedical, sort of medical devices. And we are starting to work with a lot of these customers as well to actually develop these products. And it's becoming very interesting. And it's really to do with COVID, because in the beginning, a lot of people were like afraid of taking injectables or, and things like that. And now they've had to take all those they had to basically take all those vaccinations, and that's just made it a little bit more easier for people, and also easier for the doctors and things like that to actually also prescribe them to patients as well. So I see a massive way of moving forward. And if you just look at insulin as in a state, I mean, it's brilliant because they have these monitoring things, and you see the people, and when they need a little bit more insulin, it's much more easier to monitor, and they've got these little gadgets. And I think with just developed so much, and I can see more and more development through large molecules and definitely through injectables as well. So yeah, but I don't think it's going to disappear completely, the small molecules. Hopefully not.
So sustainability is a big issue in pharma for everybody, really. Sustainability is something we should be looking at across all our sort of our habits and inside and outside of work. And we feature sustainability quite heavily in the conference this year, and you are a big part of that because you're looking at that area as well. So how do you see sustainability playing a role in the pharmaceutical industry?
So definitely with the big pharmaceuticals, I see a huge amount of customers are worried about the NHS and what they're saying about the zero net or the zero emissions happening, and that they have to focus through this. And so I think that it's going the right direction. I mean, we're very slow at pharma because I know that the cosmetic system and the cosmetic industry, which is another part that we do in HARKE, that they're moving much more forward. Soluble packaging, they're looking at less water waste and things like that, and they're really interested in looking at how you can become more sustainable. And I think with us, we've really started to. It's been very, very slow, but it's starting to actually really move forward and looking at, first of all, where your excipients are coming from, what's the carbon footprint of manufacturing it, how much are they how far is it going to be shipped over? So I can start to see that more European manufacturing companies are going to be really the forefront, especially in Europe, because we don't have to ship it so far. So that's another great thing about things. Another thing is how they manufacture as well. How can they actually reduce their carbon emission during the manufacturing system? But also just even the packaging, that's just looking at the excipients itself. But if we're looking at the packaging, we're looking at, I've seen so many formulations coming through, and a lot of them have been really bad stability data. And they said, it's okay, it's fine, we'll put them in blister packaging. A classic example is, ODT tablets, and then you see them being put in the blister packaging, and just by changing a couple of components, they could remove them. And now people are now looking at, how can we actually have a stable or much more of a tablet that's, or product basically that requires less packaging as well and more sustainable packaging going through. So I think that this is it is very, very close to my heart as well. I really like the idea of sustainability as well. And I gave a very interesting presentation a few months back about toothpaste tablets and looking at sort of using the pharmaceutical technology versus with cosmetics, and how to actually reduce plastic waste, because those toothpaste tubes are horrendous to actually recycle, to be honest with you. So yeah, I'm really excited to be at Making Pharma. So yeah, and talk about this subject.
Lots of challenges, and great to have lots of people in one space, very motivated to improving things and pushing things forward to meet those net zero targets, which we all need to be aware of and be behind for the better of the planet, I would say. So your presentation at the conference is called Clean and Green Excipients. So you're very much, in the sustainability trend of the content that we've got going on this year. And you are going to be exhibiting, HARKE Pharma will be on stand 509. So while you're presenting in the conference, I'm sure you'll have many colleagues available on your stand to talk to anyone who wants to drop by over the 2 days.
Yeah, so I have my presentation, but what is really going to be interesting is that we're getting a lot of our suppliers in as well. That they're going to, so if people want a deeper talk about particular excipients and how they can be sustainable, then the suppliers are going to be able to give you a much more deeper understanding and a really great conversation with them as well. So please drop by, and they are coming from all over Europe and everywhere. So it's a great place to come to meet Making Pharma, because you don't have to go too much and you get so much more information from everyone. So that it's excellent. So yeah.
action-packed couple of days that if people plan well, they can meet a huge number of people and learn a huge amount from the conference as well. So just a reminder that attending the conference and the exhibition is free, and registration is already open at www.makingpharma.com. So we look forward to seeing you, Shilpa, and your colleagues and everybody watching this discussion at the Coventry Building Society Arena on the 29th and the 30th of April. Shilpa, thank you very much for your time, and we look forward to seeing you soon.
Thank you very much, Victoria. See you soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you.